Hey guys, this is Adam bringing you another battle report. Actually, this is the first one for this channel. We pulled the other one down. Wanted to try and do a little bit better with this one. We're doing an escalation league, and what that is we're starting off at 750 point games. You can only take one special. The rest has to be core. No rare choices yet. You can have one character as your general, and he has to fit into that 187 points. I think it's 187.5 or something. And he has to be your general. And then after a month, we'll jump up to 1,000 points, and you add to your existing army. You can add another character or more troops. You'll get one rare slot at that point. And so it's kind of neat. We'll keep going monthly until it gets to 2,500, and then that'll be the last month, and then we'll start over and do something else. So that's what we're working on. There's about 6 or 7 of us playing in it. I'm going to try and do battle reports on all the games I can make it to at least. But let's take a look at the armies. This first game is Bretonnia versus Orcs and Goblins. I'm taking my Bretonnians. And another purpose in doing this is a lot of people don't have fully painted armies, including myself. And so what we're doing is, well, you try and paint your 750 points. That way you're not looking at this big, daunting 5,000 point army that you have as having to paint it all. You're just trying to get that 750 points painted. And then the next month you add 250 points to it, and your goal is to try and get that painted as well. So it kind of gives you breaks it into smaller goals, and you'll end up with a fully painted 2,500 point force. So kind of neat. But this is a look at my Bretonnians that I'm taking. Starting on the left, that's 30 men-at-arms. They're pretty much point fillers. I didn't want anyone to think I was being too cheesy by taking 2 lances of knights. So I took a horde formation of men-at-arms, and we'll see how they do. At the top is 3 peg knights. I didn't have room for the command, so I just gave them a champion. And then I've got, looks like 11 errant knights, and my generals there in the front and the middle. Now Bretonnians, they have a rule they have to have a BSB, but since you can only have one character and your BSB can't be a general, we've waived that, made my general, and I'll have to pick up a BSB later. But that's what we're looking at. Next is the Orcs and Goblin list. This is a little washed out. I'll try and fix it, so if it's not washed out when you see this, it means I've already put it in Photoshop and worked with it. But on the left, he's got, I think it's 7 Savage Orc Biggins on boars. His general is in that unit. And then he's got 30. Yeah, he had 30 Savage Orcs, not Biggins, just Savage Orcs. And I was a little surprised. He took the command out of them and took them out of horde formation. In one of our test games, we were able to test our armies before we started the league, and his horde formation did wonderful. I mean, it just butchered stuff. But he wanted to try the bus formation here. And then he's got 2 units of Goblin Wolf Riders, and they have bows. So there's a look at his general. His general is armed with the Golden Sigil Sword, which gives him initiative 10. So he'd be striking first almost all the time. And then I think he had the Charmed Shield. Lets him discount the first wound on a 2 or better. And so he's not too bad. And then of course he's Savage Orc, so he gets the 6-up ward from just the war paint. There's a look at my general. My general has the virtue of Knightly Temper, so every time he does a successful wound, he gets an extra attack. He's also got the Dawn Stone that lets him reroll armor saves. And in the unit that he's in, the Errant Knights, of course, they took the Errantry banner, so it's +1 strength on the charge. So, but it makes them -2 to their leadership for the Impetuous test. So that's all right. You want them, most of the time you want them to charge anyway. All right, there's a look at the board. I want to tell you about the terrain because everything out there we rolled was just crazy. Starting on the left, the big stone thing was a portal, and every magic phase, his and mine, every magic phase, it casts a random spell. The book gives you a list that it can do. It targets the closest unit, which I'll go ahead and tell you was me every turn. Even when we were equal distance away, we would roll off and it hit me every time. So that's okay. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. It can help you, it can hurt you, so that's what it does. And there's no range limits on its spells either. It can cast it anywhere on the board. The monument next to it, the little statue, we were using that. We don't have a Sphinx model, but we rolled up a Sphinx. And any character within 6 inches of it, it can issue a challenge to them. If it wins, it's an initiative test. And if you lose, you take a wound. If you win, it bestows a special rule on you, something like Devastating Charge and Killing Blow. But nobody ever got close enough, so it didn't come into effect. The little stone wall below those is a ghost fence. Anybody defending it causes fear. The water in front of my men-at-arms is an Earthblood mirror. It gives a unit, any unit that's in it gets a 6+ regen. The stone in the middle is the Acropolis of Heroes. Any characters or any units within 6 inches of it are stubborn, and that takes place in, I think, every combat of the game. That's a regular building, and then both forests were mysterious forests, but we never entered either one of them, so they don't come into effect either. So that's the terrain. This is how we set up. He's in place up there. Savage Orcs on the left. His Wolf Riders making a screen for his Boar Boys, and then also right there behind the Acropolis of Heroes. You can't really see the second unit, but that's alright because they get a vanguard movement. My guys, I put my Peg Knights in the front because I want them to be able to dart around behind him or beside him. And there's another look at his deployment, and there's a look at my deployment from his side. Alright, move my Peg Knights up and their vanguard. Don't want to move too close because he's going to get the first turn, and I don't want him charging me with his Wolf Rider. I could probably handle him, but you never know what crazy thing's going to happen when you get charged, so just moved him up a little bit. His vanguard looks like this. He's already starting a trap. I don't think he remembered that I was definitely not going first because of the Lady's Blessing, so he was setting this up in case I went first, but anyway, his first turn, I took a picture of this because a lot of people forget animosity tests, but we worked together and remembered every one of them, and he didn't fail one the entire game. So this is the only picture of animosity test that we took. So he passed them all. First turn, he moved his Wolf Riders up like this, making a trap. So either one I charge, of course, he knows that I'm going to bust through, and Wolf Riders die when the wind changes direction. So if I charge either one, they'll die, but it'll leave me open to a flank charge from his Boar Boys that are right up there above it. Right there's his Boar Boys. He lined them up, so if I hit that first unit especially, it'll turn me. If I kill them all and don't overrun, I'm still in his front charge. If I kill them all and overrun, then I'm giving him a nice flank charge. So that's a good little tactic there, redirecting and stuff like that. Savage Orcs moved up. I don't think they march moved, no, because they're angled. They just moved up some. He took a shot at my Peg Knights with his Wolf Riders, but it didn't do anything. I think he did land a wound or something, but the armor saved it, so we're all good. My first turn, I moved my Men-at-Arms into the mirror, so I'm getting that regen save. I flew my Peg Knights up pretty far, got them up beside his Savage Orcs out of their charge arc. Want that to be like, kind of a distraction. I like to get him up there. There's no way I would be able to charge him into his flank and do any real damage. I mean, steadfast and all that. I would end up just flying in there, doing a couple wounds, and maybe tie him up. But that's really not what Peg Knights are for. My turn, I angled my Knights. I passed my impetuous test. I just decided one of the great tactic in movement is not moving at all, because if I charge him, I'm in trouble either way, or possibly in trouble either way. So rather than do that, I just angled some this way. If his Wolf Riders charge me, I'll slaughter them. I mean, I'm not worried about Wolf Riders coming in. I don't even think they had spears, so it's like he would pretty much just ride in there and die. But his Savage Orcs, on the other hand, coming at my Men-at-Arms, I didn't want them making some long, crazy charge and my Men-at-Arms being unsupported, so I angled a little bit so that if he did fail his frenzy test and have to try and charge me, it would leave him in my arc so I could get my free wheel and charge him with my knights. So this kind of leaves his boar boys stuck back there behind the wolf riders, and I'm okay with that. In his turn, you'll notice we don't have any magic, and I forgot about the portal. The first turn, the portal threw Wyson's Wild Form on my men at arms, but there's no combat at all and no shooting coming at them, so it will wear off before anything happens. Second turn, it throws Plague of Rust on my Peg Knights, which lowers their armor save by 1, and that's for the rest of the game. So now they're on a 4-up. This turn is his turn. He angles towards me right here, the Peg Knights, but he leaves his angle good enough so that my men at arms are still in his front arc. He could charge me there if he needed to, and if I do land a long charge on him, it'll put me in his front. So, that's all right. It's not like he made a 90-degree wheel and opened his flank up. He was smart with his movement. He moved his wolf riders like this to kind of shield his savage orcs. That's a long charge, but Bretonians, they can pull off long charges. So he put them there to kind of slow me down. And if I did hit him, it would turn me to where his other wolf riders could get a flank charge. And still not terribly worried about wolf riders, but it's a smart tactical move. He moved his boar boys up like this. So, again, I have 2 options of charges, but if I do it, either one's going to open me up. And, that was what his plan was: perform this little V, and whichever one I hit, I'm opening a flank to his boars. That stupid portal. Oh, no. This time it was good. This turn it put Speed of Light on my Peg Knights. So now they are Initiative and Weapon Skill 10. And that's interesting. I've never had Peg Knights that good, so we'll run with that. His Wolf Riders, in his turn, his shooting phase, shot and killed a man-at-arm. So, I hate it when they die because I don't want them to lose that rank. When you're in horde formation, that's your weakness, is fighting a bust, because you lose your steadfast. A bust, number 1, if they're in bust formation, you don't get all of your front fighting. And number 2, he's got more ranks, so you lose steadfast. So I hate to see any of them die, but yeah, he did manage to kill one with his Wolf Riders. So I was looking at this. I measured the front of his boar boys, and then I measured the gap between his Wolf Riders and the Acropolis of Heroes, the stone there, and he can't fit. So, yeah, I definitely declared the charge, and at first he said he was going to hold, but then after looking at it, he decided he changed his mind and said he wanted to retreat, wanted to flee. And so I passed my test to redirect, and he decided to flee with his other Wolf Riders as well. And there's no way I would have charged this if I didn't have a trap of my own set, because that is a nice juicy flank for those boar boys. But I actually rolled very high. He rolled kind of poorly, and I ran down his Wolf Riders there. But then my Peg Knights had an open lane there to charge into the flank of his boar boys. And I don't expect them to just hit and overrun, but I do expect them to hit, win combat the first time maybe, and keep him from going into my flank on my knights. So, that's all right. I'm willing to do that. I got rid of one of those chaff units, and I'm going to protect my knights here, and maybe they can tie them up long enough for me to turn and get a charge with my knights as well. There's the comment. Sorry for the blurry picture, but I got in. 2 of my guys are touching his general, and 1 is touching, or no, 2 of them are also touching the regular troops, so that's all right. He goes first. We're both initiative 10, so actually going simultaneous. Mine is because of Speed of Light. His has the golden sigil sword, so he rolls his attacks. He does 3 wounds total, and ends up killing 1 Peg Knight, putting a wound on another. But since we go simultaneous, I still got to attack with all of mine. Didn't do any wounds to his general, but I managed to kill 4 of the savage orcs. So that's a pretty good run there. And we were figuring it out. We forgot about the Acropolis of Heroes making him stubborn, and it didn't matter because he rolled insane courage anyway. There's the two ones over on the right, so they didn't go anywhere. The Wolf Riders in his turn, they rallied, and yeah, this is his turn. Yeah, his Wolf Riders, they rallied, took some shots at my men at arms. He managed to kill a second one, and then I remembered the mirror and got a 6-up regen and saved him. So that's kind of funny. You don't expect those things to really do anything, but it saved my man at arm anyway. He turned his Savage Orcs like this so that he could charge into the back of my Peg Knights. And that's kind of scary because his general's there. I don't think I'm going to kill his general and all those War Boys. They're stubborn right there. And so it looks like the Peg Knights have put themselves... It was a valiant effort. I mean, they saved my Knights, but it looks like they're putting themselves in a bad spot. In my turn, he failed to do any wounds to me, and then I managed to do 1 wound to his general. I had a flank still. He had a banner. I did 1 wound. I don't remember if it was a push or what, but either way, nobody ran. We stuck around. I declared a charge with my men-at-arms in my turn, going into his Wolf Riders. I can't remember what ability the portal threw on me this time. Honestly, I think it was Speed of Light. Yeah, he put Speed of Light on my men-at-arms, so weapon skill 10, initiative 10, that's not too bad. So I charge his Wolf Riders. He decides to stand and shoot. And there's a look at the dice. I made it in, and it turned me like this. Then he angled appropriately so that I couldn't overrun into his Savage Orc's flank. But he rolls through his shooting, hits me 3 or 4 times, does 3 wounds. And there's a look at the dice. 3 wounds, and I made 3 armor saves on the way in. So men-at-arms are really shining today. They're usually just trash. They fill their points, but no, today they're shining pretty good. And then the portal has enough of that, throws a fireball at me. It does 2 wounds, but again, the Earthblood Mirror saves 1 of them. So 1 more man-at-arms falls down dead. In the combat, I managed to kill his general, put the 2nd wound on him. Still in his flank. He's failed his reform on both times I've won combat. He's failed his reform. I've killed his general now. And even with stubborn, he broke. And my Peg Knights were able to chase him down. So that opens up a lot of possibilities for me. In his turn, he measures it is possible for his Savage Orcs to charge me. So he has to attempt it anyway. He fails his leadership check, and he has to attempt to charge me. And if he doesn't, you can see my men-at-arms killed the Wolf Riders, of course. And if he makes the charge, he's out. I can't get him in the flank with my men-at-arms, but if he fails it, then it's looking pretty rough for him. And I think he rolls really low. I think he only went forward 3 inches. And that left him right there in a very dangerous spot. So I declared my 2 charges. Funny enough, that stupid portal... I made both charges first of all. Okay, I got in the flank with my men-at-arms. I got my charge off with my Bretonnians. My Knights, and looking good. Flew my Peg Knights up there just in case it went the 3rd round, went to our 2nd round, I'm sorry, if it went another turn, they'd be able to fly into the flank. And then that stupid portal throws Soul Leech or something like that from the Lore of Death and makes my men-at-arms -1 strength and -1 toughness, so kind of makes them an easy target. But on my charge and in flanks and everything, I did 8 wounds. I killed 8 of the Savage Orcs. And that only left him with, I think, 4 in base-to-base with my men-at-arms. And he didn't have command in this, so there's no banner, no champion, nothing like that. He killed 3 of my men-at-arms, and he killed 1 knight. I think he did more wounds than that, to be fair, but the 2-up armor save is just huge at this point. So he killed 3 men-at-arms, 1 knight. That leaves me up by 4 with wounds. I've got a banner. I've got 2 ranks. I got a flank charge with my men-at-arms, and it put him really low. And even with stubborn, he was still stubborn with the Acropolis, but he rolled high enough. He broke, and that's how the game ended. Is both of my units running him down. But it was a fun game. It was a good game. Neither one of us, I don't think either one of us made any tactical errors. He was lining up his guys to redirect very well, but just the way things happened, it just didn't work out for him. But it was a fun game. And in the first game, I was surprised it went this well. In the first game, we tried it out. I was taking my Empire, just testing something out, and I thought I had a good strong list. I was looking forward to it. I thought I was going to crush him, and everything. I charged my knights. I had a unit of 5 knights just to bust something, and I charged into his boar boys. And his general steps up with initiative 10 and hacked 3 of them down before I could fight. He just slaughtered me. I ran up a unit of flagellants into his savage orcs, and he cut them down to a man. He butchered me, slaughtered me in that first game. So I was real pleased to see my Bretonnians come in and do so well. But it's a good game. I hope to bring you another one, and maybe next time you see a report, more of my stuff will be painted. So I hope you enjoyed it.